I'm going to show you how to clean up a tear in the film using the clone stamp tool. Now, I've already selected the shot that I'm going to clean up just to save time because I already showed you how to do that before. So as you're watching this, you can see that big tear. It spans across several frames in the film, and that's why it kind of moves around like that as well. Never really overlapping the previous one, and that'll kind of make it a little easier. Another couple things that make this one easier is that the camera is stationary, and the only thing that's really moving in the picture is this door that's really not moving that fast anyway. So all I'm going to do is show you that. You can see there's other things like see that green hue from the or tint from the middle to the bottom of the picture there, and then that one is like the entire picture. I'm not going to clean that up in this lesson. I'm just going to show you how to do the clone stamp tool to clean up this big tear. And the tear actually kind of moves the frame over a little bit too. We're not going to worry about fixing that frame movement. We're just going to remove the visibility of the tear. And the reason why it turns green a little bit all of a sudden is because that's, I think, the miscolorized tape that was attached to the film so that it would keep the film together. So let's get started. A couple things that's going to make this a lot more doable is if you push Command or hold down Command and then the left or right arrow, that's going to actually allow you to move frame by frame to the left or to the right, which is going to be so much more precise and easy, and it's going to come in handy, especially with this. So what we're going to want to do is find the first tear in the footage, which happens to be this one right here. So select the clone stamp tool, which is right up here, just like in Photoshop, because it's Adobe and it's Adobe InMotion. That's what After Effects is. And so we actually want to fix it, but we have to go into this particular layer. So we have to double click to do that. Now you can notice up here the composition tab. The original one for all of the different layers is right here, but just the footage we're working on right here and wanting to clean up specifically is within this tab. So when you want to preview it and make sure that what your work looks right, that was a great sentence, then you want to go back to here to kind of see what it looks like overall. But back to here again. So when you hold down Command and then click and drag your mouse, you can select any size you want for your brush tool. And plus, over here with the hardness, I like it to be as soft as possible when it comes to dust and scratch removal. It makes it a lot more subtle. You can't see your work as much, and so I like to make that a 0, and then the opacity and flow 100%. There's probably other settings as well that you might want to fiddle with if you want. So if we were in Photoshop and this was the only shot we had to work with, we would sample by pushing Option and then clicking somewhere, and then clicking and dragging here. We could just sample that and remove a lot of the scratch that way. And it's so easy because it's over black. I'm going to show you an even easier way to do it. Because if you start to do it like this and then you want to do the rock and everything, so you sample somewhere up here and do that and you know, this, that's great if it's not moving around. You've mostly removed it, and to the viewer that's just looking at it, it's like, hey, that looks great. But when it's playing in real time, 24 frames a second, and every single frame you sampled slightly differently, it's actually going to bring a little more attention to itself than we want to, and we have a better option. This is not that big of a deal. So I'm going to undo all of those. And I'm going to show you the way I recommend that you do this. Because this is footage, we can actually go to the previous frame, again, by pushing Command and left arrow, or go to the post frame. And although there's a big issue right here, it's not where the other one used to be. So we can sample from the very same spot and then go to the original frame and then cover over it. All right, check this out. So I'm going to go to the previous frame and then push Option and then select. And then watch this. I'm going to click with my mouse. So I've selected exactly where I want to sample from. And then I'm going to let go of my mouse entirely. And then I'm going to push Command and then the right arrow. And then without moving my mouse, I'm going to first click with my mouse. And that guarantees pixel perfect sampling from the previous frame to the next, so that everything matches up as good as it possibly can, other than the fact that the footage, of course, kind of shakes around a bit because it's old film. And you can also get rid of that right there. And And every time I click and drag with the clone tool, it creates a new clone layer right here. Do you see those? And they're each represented by a little line where you dragged it like that. It's only a frame long, that particular scratch right there, or within that frame. So what we want to do is just bring all of those down. By default, they extend all the way to the end of the composition, but it's only needed for one, so I'm gonna just make them one frame long. If you guys figure out a way to set the default as one frame only, let me know, and I'll definitely want to implement that. It'll save a little time now and a lot of time in the long run. So if you go back to the original one right here and you drag your mouse across, you can see that it's all gone, right? Other than that little line across, those little dots across the door right there. I haven't gotten rid of those yet because the door actually moves. Let me show you how I would get rid of those. So going back into the footage and then sampling the frame before again. Okay, watch this. Instead of trying to make it pixel perfect lined up, we actually don't want to do that this time because the door is moving. So I'm going to select maybe something that's outstanding on the door that that's easy to locate in the next shot. This little white blob right here. So I move that little target right over the white blob, select it, and then push Command and then to the right. So the door's moved a little bit, yeah? Because when you push Option again, there it is. So I move it over again. Just for lining it up, do I push the Option button. But I don't actually select again. This time I want to stamp with the tool and see how the door lines up. So there you go. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it definitely lines up. And it's definitely not going to be an issue when you're watching it. It's so much faster to do than anything else that I can think of right now. And it's relatively so much more effective that I say go for it. Okay, so then we go to the next frame and there's another big gash. And so previous frame, select, and then the actual frame, and then do it again. The door moves, so we could implement our same little trick as before. Maybe line it up with that light and dark point, select, next over, and then bring that over again. And there you go. It's not perfect, but it is probably good enough. We'll only know when we watch it and see how it plays. And when you're doing this, I'm going to mention that if you have highlighted any of your previous markings and you want to do a new marking in that same footage, watch what happens. When I do it, it actually overrides that former marking. It makes a new one, and it goes to the end of the composition. So you want to make sure, I undid that right there. You want to make sure that they're not highlighted. The only one you want highlighted is the actual one that you're trying to clean up. None of these down here, otherwise it'll override them. But we're moving on now to the next one anyway. So sample. So easy. Anybody can do this. Really? Yep. Anybody. Wow. Okay. Go to the next one. There it is. So select the previous and then that one. This is getting a little repetitive. Okay, see that where you're sampling and they're too close to really avoid it? So we'll just deal with it. Right? So we can, hold on just a moment. Never mind. Okay, wow, okay, there's that. Get rid of that as well. That. And then there's our door. We just have to worry about the door. Okay, I'm just leaving that for now. I'm not cleaning that up. I can't. See, this is an example of how it's so hard to leave it alone. Just leave it alone. For now, because that's all I'm trying to do is show you this one. Oh my goodness, I need to stop talking. There's another one. See, I unhighlighted that because I don't want it to be overridden. Because I liked what I did. I don't want to undo it. There's another one. Gosh, I can't wait to show you guys how great this looks when I'm done with it. Okay, isn't it a drag to have to drag those to the left all the time? It is. If you guys learn a better way, please let me know. Great. And look, there's a little bit there that I can get rid of as well. It's so easy because it's already been selected. Anywhere on the picture works. Look, this scratch is gone, but there's a vertical single frame green line, so we can get rid of that in the exact same way as we got rid of everything else. So easy. Anybody can do it. Right, that's kind of it as far as the big scratches, I think. So let's check this out. Let's watch it. It's rendering first, okay? It's gonna play over and over again. See? Look, it's all gone. Yes, there's other issues that we can tackle in another lesson, including the miscolored green tint to a few of the frames. But this is just a quick example of how it can be done, and it's not terribly painful. Thank you for watching. More to come.